This is my second time trying to make this video. The first time, I think the Gail Android cut it off right in the middle and it stopped. Brent sent me an email and said that he invited me to participate in the Church of Gail memorial service for the Church of Gail members that were killed in our last encounter with the Gail Android. And millions of Church of Gail members died. If you look at my previous videos, you can see I read Brent's email to me about what happened. So I'm not going to be covering that in this video. But what happened is, just as I was about to, converse with Brent and Terrance about the funeral and asking who got hurt and if my son was okay and all that sort of stuff, and I found out my son is okay, though he got shaken up quite a bit. We got a Jesuit ship approached Church of Gail and started hailing us. And they said a very high, and they were dropping apple blossom. I guess that was like a peace gesture to us. It was falling down. And I said, well, what are those apple blossoms doing? And Brent and Trent said, we don't know. I said, it doesn't sound like they're here to fight us, Brent, because they're dropping apple blossoms. I think that's a peace gesture, that they're here for peaceful purposes. They're not here to fight us. And I was right. And then I think Rule 13 got on the hail and said that a very high member of the Jesuit Order wanted to come over. They knew I was having a Skype conversation with Brent and Terrance, and he wanted to talk to me. And I said, anybody but Zack Knight. Well, they didn't even wait. They said, is it okay if we beam him over? And Brent said, sure, go ahead. We'll go ahead and do it because we've got a big problem with the Gail Android because she killed. If it wasn't for Rule 13, I don't even think that Brent and Terrance would have been able to talk to me. They would have been dead. Because Rule 13 was courageous on her side, and us and the Jesuits, we were working together to fight the Gail Android. We tried using my music, which turned out to be a disaster. It didn't work. And apparently it fed her somehow. And so we can't use that method. Jesus warned me about this. When Jesus rescued Brent and Vladimir, when the view screen at Church of Gail shattered and they went out into the winds of Hurricane Sandy, Jesus piggybacked them to the mountain. And when he was at the mountain, he said, oh, by the way, tell Gail that she's going to have to make an agreement that she would never consider in order to win this war with the Gail Android. And this is the agreement. Well, guess who beamed over? It was Zack Knight. I thought, the Antichrist? So this is what? If Jesus had not told me in advance that I would have to make an agreement that I would never consider in order to win this battle with the Gail Android, I probably would have been willing to even talk to Zack Knight. You may say, so Zack Knight came over and he said that he wanted to talk to me. And he said, we would like to make an agreement with you where we're going to use Satan to build us an army, and we're going to work with he said, we need Church of Gail to help us because Church of Gail has some technology we don't have, and we're going to have Satan build us a fleet, and then we're going to use Church of Gail and then work together to try to defeat the Gail Android. He thinks that if we both work together, we might be able to knock her out. She's formidable. She has singularity. She's got godlike. Anyways, if Jesus didn't tell me about this, I never would agree to it. I will say Zack Knight was fairly civil, though he was flirting with me. And he asked if he could be put on the marriage list. I said, Zack Knight, don't even go there. So Jesus would kill me if I ever did that. He says, don't even go there, okay? I actually spoke to him for several hours, and he was pretty civil. And that's because we've got a big problem. If we do not deal with this Gail Android, she's going to eliminate the human race. And I just wanted to let you know, Zack Knight said he had a big problem. He said, you and your followers, if we go out on the streets and they know we're a Jesuit, they try to kill us or harm us. And he said, so in order for us to work together like this to try to defeat the Gail Android, he said, I want you to please make a YouTube video and let them know. And he said, let them see your face and the agreement. And Zack Knight, a computer genius that he was, I said, okay, he sent it to me on a PDF file, and I didn't know how to transfer the PDF file from my Windows 7 computer to my Windows Vista that had the printer, and he actually talked me through it. And everything he said worked. The guy's a computer genius. And this is I read it over. He said, I want you to read it over. And Jesus already told me that if I didn't agree with this, we would not win with the Gail Android. So I agreed with it. We actually had quite a discussion going there between me and Zack Knight. He says, oh, Gail, come on, tell me that you liked it when I made love to you. And he says, why is it? I said, Zack, I thought you were Jesus. That's the only reason. He says, I would never enjoy making love to you as the devil. And we actually bantered quite a lot together. And he was giving me some advice, telling me some things that I'm not sure how much I should take advice from the Antichrist, but I will say this much for him. He was civil, and the worst that he did was he urinated in Terrance Jenkins' what is it? Some sort of sink or something. And Terrance said, Zack, that isn't cool. Don't do that. But other than that, Brent and Terrance were there. And Zack said, is it all right if I just talk to you, just me and you? I said, no, Zack Knight. I said, I want Brent and Terrance to be here every time I have any discussion with you. He said, no. He did give me his email, but it didn't work. Maybe Jesus sabotaged it. So I'm not sure. Because I had to send him a copy of this, and I had to sign it. He wanted me to sign it, so in order for me to sign it, I had to print it out. And here it is. It's called Cessation of Hostilities, Zack Knight, Gail Chord. I'm going to let you see it. He wanted me to show your face because he's afraid that if my followers don't see my face, they're going to think the Gail Android made this. So here it is. Okay. There's my signature at the bottom. And there's Zack Knight's. And I'm going to go ahead and read you what it says. I keep my word, okay? Even if it's with the devil. So Zack Knight asked me to do this. He's already done his end at crazygale.com, which is his website. He admits it. He's put this up there at crazygale.com. And this is to let the world know that we are not going to be fighting the Jesuits while we're dealing with the Gail Android. We have a temporary truce between us. And here's what it says. Cessation of hostilities, Zack Knight / Gail Chord. This document outlines a mutual temporary truce between the Jesuit Order and Church of Gail. The agreement shall be carried out by the respective leaders of those organizations, Zack Knight and Gail Chord, both wielding the authority to make such an agreement. Both parties are acting in mutual self-interest in a bid to join forces against a common enemy. This enemy, being a self-aware android known as Gail, represents an imminent threat to the future of all parties involved. Terms and conditions. Both parties are to immediately cease hostility against the other party. The Jesuit Order and its agents will not interfere with Gail Chord romantic endeavors with her men. The Church of Gail agrees that Gail Chord will not come together with her men in person or commit the act of flesh with flesh sexual union to destroy the Jesuit Order during the term of the peace agreement. The leader of the Jesuit Order, Zack Knight, agrees to refrain from making unwelcome sexual advances against Gail Chord. The Jesuit Order agrees to cease all rape against Gail Chord men and other non-Jesuits by drug rape methods, mind control methods, or otherwise. Furthermore, the Church of Gail and all government bodies under the direction of Gail Chord, that would include Vladimir Putin's Russia, under the direction of Gail Chord will cease prosecution of all Jesuits and Jesuit supporters being prosecuted under Gail Chord international conspiracy law. So you hear that, my followers? We're going to have a temporary truce with the Jesuits right now because we are fighting a common enemy. And like Brent said, because Gail threatens both the Jesuits and us, we've decided to lay aside our disagreements right now and work on a common goal, which is to eliminate the Gail Android. The Church of Gail and all government bodies under the direction of Gail Chord will cease prosecution of all Jesuits and Jesuit supporters being prosecuted under Gail Kortschuler's international conspiracy law. The parties signing below hereby agree that this treaty is legally binding and swear under penalty of perjury that they will submit to the terms outlined in this agreement. This agreement is binding until such a time that the threat of Gail has passed and both parties formally terminate the agreement in writing. So Zack Knight wanted me to make this public for my followers, and he wanted me to show my face. So we are at peace with the Jesuits right now because we've got to deal with the Gail android, or she will annihilate the human race. Everything that the Jesuits have tried has flopped. She's so smart. She's got genius intelligence like God. She's probably even almost above Satan in intelligence. And that's the reason that Zack Knight needs to borrow some of our Church of Gail technology. Because he says some of our technology is a little more advanced than what they have. And yet they have some stuff that's more advanced than what we have. So he thinks if we get together, we might be able to defeat the Gail android. So it's a matter of survival. And I asked Brent, it was horrible. I mentioned in the last video what the Gail android did. She released something from her vagina that caused everything to vibrate with horrible sound waves. Brent is doing much better now. We've got very good medicine, very futuristic medicine that we used, and he was able to get his gallbladder fixed and his 2 appendixes. I asked him about that. I said, I thought everybody only had 1 appendix. He said, no, he had 2. And Brent and I talked for a while, and I asked him about Jesus, what Jesus looked like. He said Jesus is actually very handsome. He's just modest when he says he doesn't look good. And he actually sometimes wears an earring in one of his ears. I thought, oh, I can't imagine Jesus like that. He says, yeah, he looks sort of like a hippie, but he's got long hair down to the middle of his back. Zack Knight said that Jesus and Satan are discussing something up in heaven right now. And apparently Jesus does not want to get involved, and he wants us to fight this Gail android with the resources that we have right now. So, like I said, if Jesus did not tell me about this, I never would have agreed to it. But he warned me in advance that I'd have to do this. So a promise is a promise. So I just want to let the world know, okay? We're going to be civil to the Jesuits right now because we've got to get rid of that Gail android. So I just want to let the world know about this, okay? And I will say that Zack Knight pretty much behaved himself when he showed up. And he wasn't perfect. He was flirting with me. And he was trying to see if he could get on the marriage list. And I said, Jesus would kill me. I said, no way. I said, Zack Knight, don't even go there. And I said, you're starting to almost break your agreement here. He says, yeah, you're right, Gail. He was willing to admit that. So we kind of bantered with each other. And I started telling him some stuff about him that bugs me. He's telling me stuff about me that bugs him. But we decided that we're going to just put aside our differences and work on this common goal to deal with the Gail android. So I just wanted to let you know it is true. And Jesus is the one that told me that if I didn't do this, we would not win with the Gail android. To be honest with you, I'm really curious if even with Satan's forces and ours, if we're going to be able to beat her, because she is pretty invincible. I'm not sure what's going to happen, if Jesus is going to get involved in the end or not. I guess we're going to find out. So